Hey friend, welcome back to From Writer to Author, the podcast. I'm your host, Veronica G, and today we're going to have a real conversation about something that every writer deals with, not just once, but repeatedly, and sometimes creatively. We're talking about procrastination, distractions, and all the little side quests we suddenly decide are vitally important the minute we sit down to write. If you've ever found yourself scrolling, snacking, reorganizing, or deep cleaning your refrigerator just to avoid your manuscript, then my friend, pull up a chair. You're in good company. Let's talk about why this happens, what to do about it, and how you can turn things around for good. So here's the thing. When I procrastinate, I don't dabble in it. I don't lightly procrastinate. No, I commit. I doom scroll like I'm conducting a research study on the human condition. I respond to emails with the dedication of someone being graded. I water every plant in the house like I'm prepping for the Royal Botanical Tour. And I absolutely convince myself that grocery shopping is an urgent priority, even though my pantry is full. And then I tell myself I need to straighten my creative studio before I can possibly write anything. Because obviously I cannot produce literary brilliance while one pen is pointing slightly east instead of north. And distractions? Same deal. My phone lights up like a Vegas casino. Emails ping at me like needy toddlers. And suddenly I have the overwhelming urge to get a snack. But here's the funny part. When you talk to other writers, you realize we all do the same things, just packaged slightly different. They tell me their job gets in the way, or the kids, or the laundry, or the need to perfect what they've already written before moving forward, or, hilariously, the need to build a website before chapter 1 is even finished. And listen, I laugh with them because I've been there. Let me tell you about the time I almost derailed my own book. I was halfway through writing a book. Deadline, end of the month. Time left, 2 weeks. Confidence level, high. Then, out of absolutely nowhere, I decided that this was the moment my business website needed a full redesign. Every page, new layout, new copy, new banners, the works. Had the website been perfectly fine up until that moment? Yes. Was this a rational decision? Absolutely not. But did I convince myself that it was essential because all the new readers from my book launch were going to visit it? Oh yes. Dramatically, yes. Meanwhile, the only people actually visiting my contact form were scammers pretending they'd read my book, when clearly the only thing they'd read was my Amazon description. So there I was, 2 weeks out from a deadline, redesigning an entire website like I was auditioning for a spot at a marketing agency. The stress, sky high. The snacks, nonstop. The breaks I took to think, laughable. I wasn't thinking, I was spiraling. And then it finally hit me. If I missed the deadline, the only person I'd disappoint was me. And honestly, that realization annoyed me. Because why am I keeping promises to everyone else, but I'm breaking them to myself? So I got tough with myself, in a loving but firm mom voice kind of way. I gathered my snacks, I shut off notifications, I hid my phone, turned on calming music, closed my studio door, and made myself one promise. I said to myself, you are not leaving this room until you move forward on this book. And you know what? I did it. And I did it again the next day, and again, until finally, on deadline day, around 9 p.m., I finally hit publish. And that moment taught me something big. It taught me that nobody is coming to rescue my deadline or drag me back to the keyboard. It taught me that my dreams only move forward when I move forward. It taught me that I'm fully capable of shutting out distractions, getting focused, and doing the work when I decide to take myself seriously. And honestly, it taught me that keeping promises to myself matters just as much, if not more, than any promise I keep to anyone else. Because that's the moment I stopped just wanting to be an author and started actually being one. And once that realization sunk in, something clicked. Not in a dramatic movie moment way, more like the quiet, oh, you feel when a puzzle piece finally fits and suddenly the picture makes sense. Because it wasn't just that I'd finally focused. It wasn't just that I'd beaten procrastination for a few days. It was the recognition that my writing struggles weren't really about plants that needed watering or emails that suddenly felt urgent. Those were symptoms, side effects, distractions wearing costumes. The real issue was deeper and honestly so much more human. So I want to slow down here and talk about what I now call the real fix, the things that actually change your writing life from the inside out. Here's the truth that most writers never hear. Procrastination isn't a time problem. It's a clarity problem, a structure problem, a boundaries problem, and very often, an identity problem. Once you understand that, everything gets easier. The pressure drops, the panic quiets, and writing stops feeling like this giant, overwhelming mountain. So let's take this one piece at a time. First, clarity. When you sit down to write without a plan, your brain panics. It doesn't know what the next chapter is supposed to do. It doesn't know where the story is headed or what the transformation is supposed to be. And when your brain panics, guess what it does? It searches for comfort. And comfort looks like scrolling, snacking, alphabetizing your bookshelf, or suddenly caring deeply about your sock drawer. Clarity calms your brain. Clarity tells your nervous system, hey, we know what we're doing. You can relax. That's why outlining matters. It's not busy work. It's a roadmap for your creativity. The second thing you've got to do is break it down, because your brain loves small, doable wins. When you break your outline into daily chunks, writing stops feeling like write a whole book and starts feeling like write this one chapter or write these 700 words. Small goals feel safe. Small goals feel doable. Small goals give your brain the satisfaction of progress, which keeps momentum going. This is how you trick your brain into cooperating instead of panicking. Number 3, treat writing like your job, because professionalism creates consistency. Here's something I say with love. If you want to be an author, you can't treat writing like a hobby that you'll get to when you have time. Nobody ever magically finds time. We create time for the things that matter. When you show up for writing the way you show up for a job you're paid for, something shifts inside you. You start taking yourself seriously. And in return, your writing gets the respect and attention it deserves. Number 4 is boundaries, the emotional armor your writing time needs. One of the biggest reasons writers don't get anything done is because their writing time is treated like optional time. If you're available to everyone all the time, your writing will always come last. Boundaries don't make you rude. Boundaries make you consistent. It's telling people lovingly, during these hours, I'm working. If you need me, leave a message and I'll get back to you. When you protect your writing time, you protect your writing progress. Number 5 is know your triggers and outsmart them instead of fighting them. This is where honesty helps. If you know your phone is your kryptonite, don't rely on willpower. Put it in another room. Turn it on Do Not Disturb. Flip it face down. Hide it like it's a plate of cookies you're trying not to eat. If you know you're a snack-seeking squirrel, bring the snacks with you so you don't have an excuse to wander out of your studio. If you know you clean when you procrastinate, write in a room that's already tidy. You're not fighting yourself. You're setting yourself up to win. Number 6, here are some tools that actually help, not overwhelm. You don't need fancy systems. You just need simple structure. Do not disturb. Timed writing sprints. A dedicated writing space. A change of scenery when things get stale. And yes, rewards work. If a Starbucks run and a stroll through TJ Maxx gets you moving, then by all means use it. And lastly, identity. The quiet engine underneath everything. This is the part I want you to really hear. You will always act in alignment with who you believe you are. When I didn't believe I was an author, I acted like someone trying to be one. I tiptoed around my writing. I treated it like an optional hobby. I let everything else interrupt it. But when I started saying, I'm an author, something locked in. My behavior changed. My decisions changed. My boundaries changed. Identity fuels discipline. When you believe you're an author, you write. When you believe you're an imposter, you avoid. The goal isn't to force yourself to write. The goal is to see yourself as the person who writes. And there's one more piece to all of this, maybe the most important piece. And I want to ease into it because it's tender. It's the part nobody really warns you about when you first start writing. Let's talk about mindset for a minute. Not the motivational poster version, not the believe in yourself surface stuff. I'm talking about the mindset that quietly shapes every decision you make as a writer. The stuff that sits underneath your habits, underneath your excuses, underneath your procrastination. Because here's the truth I learned the hard way. You will always show up in alignment with who you believe you are. If deep down you see yourself as someone who's trying to write a book, you'll behave like someone who's trying. Starting, stopping, circling, hesitating, waiting for the perfect moment. But if you see yourself as an author, a real one, a present tense one, you act differently. You protect your writing time. You're willing to be uncomfortable. You keep promises to yourself. You write even when you're not in the mood. And listen, I didn't always see myself that way. When I wrote my very first book, I didn't tell anybody except my husband. I didn't feel legit. I felt like a kid sneaking into the grown-up's room pretending she belonged there. I didn't feel like a writer. I felt like someone impersonating one. But then I finished, and I published, and the book hit multiple #1 bestseller lists. And eventually, after enough evidence stacked up, I had to ask myself, okay, Veronica, if this doesn't make you an author, then what does? And the weirdest thing happened the minute I started saying it out loud. I'm an author. My brain finally got the memo. My behavior followed the belief. Suddenly, writing wasn't optional. It was who I was. And that's what I want for you. Not to fake confidence, not to wait until some external accomplishment proves it, but to start stepping into that identity now. Because once you believe it, you naturally start doing the things an author does. Procrastination loses its power. Distractions don't pull as hard. Boundaries feel easier to set. And writing stops being something you're squeezing into your life and becomes something that anchors your life. So if you take anything from this mindset talk, let it be this. Call yourself an author. Own it. Even if your voice shakes, even if you don't fully believe it yet, because your actions will rise to meet that identity. And once they do, everything changes. And since we're already being honest with each other, let's talk about guilt for a second. Because wow, does guilt love to creep into a writer's brain. So many writers tell me, I feel guilty I'm not writing enough. And they brace themselves like I'm going to scold them. But listen, friend, you don't need punishment. You need clarity. And here's what I want you to hear gently and clearly. You're not actually feeling guilt. You're feeling disappointment. There's a difference. Guilt shows up when you break a rule someone else gave you. Disappointment shows up when you break a promise you made to yourself. That's what stings. Not the lack of words, not the messy schedule, not the undone chapter. It's that quiet little voice inside you saying, hey, I thought we were doing this. I thought we agreed on this dream. And the beautiful thing, you don't have to sit in that disappointment. You don't have to wallow in it or judge yourself or spiral about what you should have done. You can change it today, right now, by making a new promise. A realistic one, a compassionate one, a promise you actually plan to keep. Set a goal, break it into tiny, doable pieces, Protect your writing time a little more fiercely. Show up like you matter, because you do. And remember, you're not behind, you're not failing, and you're not bad at sticking to things. You're a writer figuring out what works for you, and that's part of the process. The minute you start keeping promises to yourself again, even tiny ones, that disappointed feeling lifts. It really does. You feel aligned again. You feel like, oh, there I am. That's who I want it to be. And the best part, you get to start over as many times as you need. Writers aren't machines. We're humans with messy lives and big dreams. So if guilt has been sitting on your shoulder lately, brush it off. You're not behind. You're beginning again. And that counts. So if we're going to wrap all of this up, everything we've talked about today, from procrastination to clarity to boundaries to believing in yourself, here's the heart of it, the big thing I want you to walk away with. You are so much more in control of your writing life than you think you are. Not in a harsh, just work harder way, not in a perfectionist, do everything right way, but in a deeply empowering, you get to choose how this goes way. If you want to be a writer, a real one, a present tense one, you don't need permission. You don't need a special moment of inspiration. You don't need to earn the title. You just have to start showing up like the person you already are becoming. You outline because clarity supports you. You set boundaries because your writing time matters. You treat writing like your job because your dreams deserve structure. You shift your identity because your actions follow your beliefs. You keep promises to yourself because your relationship with you is the foundation of everything. Being an author isn't something that happens one day. It's something that grows out of 1,000 tiny decisions to take yourself seriously, even when it's inconvenient, even when you're distracted, even when it feels messy and slow. So here's the big takeaway, friend. You can do this. You really can. You're not behind, you're not failing, you're not too late. You're right on time. And you already have everything you need to move forward. Start small, build momentum, trust yourself, and keep going, even on the days when it feels hard. Because the world doesn't need a perfect writer. It needs you actually finishing the book you're here to write. All right, friend, before we close out today, I want to leave you with one more thing, a little peek of what's coming next week, because, you're about to have some fun. Next week, we're going to have some fun and talk about 7 things writers are embarrassed to admit that I think we should talk about anyway. It's honest, it's a little spicy, and you're going to feel very, very understood. So make sure you're here for that one. And since we're talking about feeling supported, if you want more encouragement in your inbox each week, I'd love for you to join my From Writer to Author newsletter. Think of it as your weekly dose of motivation, writing tips, gentle nudges, and a reminder that you're not doing this alone. If you're craving a community, a real one with actual writers and zero trolls, no weird spammers pretending they've read your books, come hang out with us in my private Facebook group, From Writer to Author, a self-publishing success community. It's a safe, uplifting corner of the internet where writers get advice, support, inspiration, and a space to breathe. Oh, and before I forget, I have a gift for you. If you haven't grabbed it yet, make sure you download my free pre-publishing roadmap. It's a checklist of the 14 things you should review before you hit that publish button. And honestly, it'll save you from so many rookie mistakes and last-minute headaches. You can grab that and sign up for the newsletter at www.goldspielcreativeenterprises.com and also in the episode notes below. All right, my friend, go stretch, grab some water, take a breath, and then go make yourself proud. Your future readers are waiting, and I'll see you next week.